Hello everyone, Skits here, and welcome to Top 10 Fall New Vegas mods that came out in 2019. Once again, I'm about a month late with this video, but I think you probably got used to it by now. Despite New Vegas being almost 10 years old, there are still tons of interesting mods that came out, and I hope that will continue in 2020 as well. Now, since there are a lot of good mods made by same authors, I decided to limit this list to one place per author, so that way I can give spotlight to as many people as possible. As always, this is my personal list, so if you feel like I missed some of your favorites from last year, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And now, without any further delays, let's begin. Starting off at place number 10, we have Immersive Hit Reactions by Cory123. This mod's main goal is to make combat a bit more realistic, by making enemies react to your shots instead of acting like bullet sponges. Since you know, if you were shot in real life, you probably wouldn't just stand there and continue as if nothing happened. Now when you hit someone, they will stutter a bit, giving you a chance to regroup or attack them even more. Currently it works on humans, super mutants, ghouls, dogs and geckos. If you want to play it fair, there is an option of making your own character react to shots as well. Personally, I didn't like it that much, because the animation that plays was a bit buggy and it made my character float around. Plus, I enjoy being a superpowered dead machine that doesn't react to pain. If you want to tweak how much damage it takes for a character to react, and other various things, there is a mod configuration menu, where you can set it all up. Now, if used along with life dismemberment or any similar mod, it makes the game feel a bit too easy, so for those of you that don't like that, make sure you up your difficulty. Overall, a really cool mod that adds a bit of realism into combat, and if you're someone that enjoys that, then this mod is definitely for you. Next up we have Tammer's Standalone Weapon Mega Pack by MC Tammer. There were a lot of good weapon mods that came out this year, but when it comes to combination of quality and quantity, Tammer's weapon pack was my favorite one. It adds 50 new weapons into the game that were all injected into leveled lists and vendors, or you can get them from a new shop called Vlad's Emporium located in Freeside. There you can meet Vlad, a fully voiced vendor from Russia that has something to say about each piece, and you can also use his firing range in basement. Anyway, back to weapons. As far as I can tell, they use vanilla textures but custom meshes created by combining and changing various different models and assets found in vanilla game, making them look completely new and unique. There are pistols, assault rifles, snipers and melee weapons included, and you can customize some of them with weapon modifications. I had fun with those that I managed to test out, but there were a few favorites. For example, Splatter Cup, modified super sledge created from robotic pony that makes a sound effect with each hit, or sonic shotgun that looks cool, plus it can push enemies away and make them unconscious. I think that everyone can find something to like here. There is a lot to choose from. Anyway, when it comes to combat, I felt like none of the weapons were overpowered, but I did some find to be lacking and didn't use them that much. I also used this pack throughout the whole video, so don't worry, there is plenty of footage coming up. If you like what you saw here, then you can go ahead and check it out, and you can also take a look at Mother's armor pack. Both are linked in the description below. Moving on, we have Explosion Sound Overhaul by Fallout Kid 20. You may remember this modder from last year's list, where his weapon sound overhaul scored second place. This time he decided to rework explosion sounds, and they are as good as his previous work. First of all, in vanilla game every explosion sounds the same and lacks impact. I mean, if you throw a grenade at someone close, you expect it to make a big bang, not sound like firecrackers I played with when I was 5. Mod's main goal is to change that, by giving every explosive, including explosive ammunition, a different effect, so you could recognize them and make them sound bigger and louder. Now if you use the Holy Frag grenade, you can hear it from miles, and even basic frags have big impact. Next part is about distance. Throwing something right under your feet and at someone few meters away will now produce a different noise. Same also applies to directions. If you toss a grenade to your left, you will hear it from left side and so on. Outside of custom explosion sounds, there are also unique effects from equipping explosives. For example, you can hear Cap's Rattle if you use a bottle cap mine. As always, it is best to hear sound mods in action, so here is a quick example. Overall, a very nice mod that I recommend using along with Author's Weapon Sounds Overhaul, and I'm looking forward to his next work. Coming up next, we have 3 animation mods called Subtle Camera Motion, Fire Animation Variants, and Iron Sight's Recoil Animations, all made by Hitman for 7101. Each one has something to do with first-person weapon animations, and they're not compatible with the Surah or previous Hitman's work. Let's start with an easy one, Fire Animation Variants. It basically adds new animation variations for hunting rifle and shotgun, Varmint rifle, magnum revolver, and lever action weapons. There are 12 in total, and they all look pretty cool and spice things up. Basically, whenever you shoot a weapon, there is a chance that one of these new animations will play instead of old ones. Next one is Ironsight Recoil Animations. This one is also pretty self-explanatory. Weapons now have recoil when you shoot them, making you feel the weight and impact behind them. Hitman already made this years ago, but wasn't able to mass reproduce it and apply it to weapons added by mods. But now, thanks to a new patching tool made by yvileapsis, it is a lot easier. So outside of vanilla weapons, there are tons of patches that add kickback to other weapon mods as well. For example, Tammer's peg I talked about before is also included. I would also recommend using it alongside real recoil. These two combined make combat a lot more fun. And finally, subtle camera motion. This one is really hard to explain, so it is best to just see it in action, or use it by yourself. In a nutshell, it turns down camera movement, so it no longer causes motion sickness. Whenever you moved around, camera swayed too much. When you shot, it zoomed as if it was trying to poke you in the eye, and some people find that annoying. I personally don't mind it much, but I can see the difference between vanilla and this mod. Now camera and shooting is a lot smoother, and it looks better than before. But like I said, it is hard to explain, so best thing to do would be to test it out for yourself. Anyway, all three mods are great. Hitman once again did a good job, and if you like these animations over his old work or Asterra's pack, then go ahead and download them. Next up we have Of Truth and Lies by rikkurikku. This mod adds a brand new adventure into Mojave with new quests, armors and weapons. You can begin by talking to Darren at his outpost, who will then send you to gain heads from a former gang of deadly gunslingers. Darren's head obsession is eventually explained in a story that is simple but engaging, and mainly serves as a way for you to meet some interesting characters, highlights of this mod. All 6 members of gang have their own personality, quest and background, and you can talk to most of them before you decide to kill them and get their head, or use alternative ways of dealing with this head dilemma. Quests usually follow the classic structure of go here and kill this dude, but there are some exceptions, like one where you have to assassinate Scorpion and NCR leaders in order to destroy their alliance. Of Truth and Lies offers a nice combination of well-written dialogue and combat, with little exploration, since you will mostly be visiting vanilla locations. It also has 13 new weapons and 19 new pieces of armor for you to try out. One complaint I have is that final location has some crazy strong Terminator wannabes that turn me into their little bitch, and I thought that difficulty spike was a bit too much. Also, I couldn't finish it because character that was with me decided to fall into the void and never come back again. But other than that, this is a pretty good quest mod that I would recommend to anyone that likes good characters, fun combat and wants to be a gunslinger. Place number 5 goes to Inventory Search by lStewieAl, pintacat, Gribbleshnibito 8 and jazzisparis. It allows you to search for stuff in inventory, recipe, barter and container menus. All you need to do is click on search button on the bottom of screen and type in what you're trying to find. So if you want to find a pistol, just type in pistol and it will show you all pistols in your inventory or all pistols that vendor sells. If you want to look for anything else, just press X to erase your previous search. A relatively simple mod that has however saved me tons of time, especially in containers where I store all my stuff. Sometimes as you scroll through inventory, you just can't seem to find that one thing you're looking for, and simply typing it into a search bar is a lot easier. I also put it in my top 10 small essential mods list, because I think everyone should have this in their game. Other than that, there isn't much to say about it, so all I can say is that you should just go ahead and check it out. Moving on, we have Just Mods Assorted by yvileapsis. If you enjoyed Solid Project and are sad that it is no longer available, well then, Just Mods is exactly for you. It adds tons of modern FPS mechanics into the game. That includes hit marker, hit indicator, sprinting, bullet time, dynamic crosshair, weapon wheel, visual objectives, and ability to hold breath when aiming. Each one of these features was released separately, but I prefer this collection, so that way my load order stays as slim as possible. Also, every single one of these comes with its own mod configuration menu, where you can disable or enable it, or change things like hit marker size, measurement system of visual objectives, weapon wheel's appearance, and so on. Now, when I used all of them together, I was surprised by how well everything was implemented. Gameplay was smooth, I didn't notice any bugs, and it felt like all these features were there from the start. I remember that I sometimes had problems with Solid Project, but here, everything just works. Only problem I encountered was that when I killed someone in bullet time and gameplayed the final kill animation, it sped up and turned into Sonic Simulator, so I had to reload my last save. Other than that, a very enjoyable mod. I especially like sprinting that comes with its custom animations and visual objectives that make finding exits in places like sewers a lot easier. So if you want to modernize your New Vegas gameplay and make combat more like it is in FPS games, then this mod is for you. And now for the top 3. Let's start off with simply Uncut by the Court of Kvatch. There are a lot of things missing in vanilla New Vegas that were supposed to be there, but Obsidian either didn't have time to implement them, test them out, or just decided they didn't want them in game. This mod tries to restore most of this stuff, including weapons, locations, NPCs and quests, while also adding new original things into the mix. Since most of these were based on cut vanilla content, they feel natural and fit into game very well. If you want to know everything that was re-added, you can check out mod page. Here I only want to talk about some of my highlights. First big addition is that NCR troopers now dance with strippers outside of Gomorrah. Yes, that is very important. You can now buy food from canteen in Camp McCarran and find few new unused NPCs. There is a new quest in Radio Station Foxtrot where you have to deal with two girls that don't exactly like each other, explore its underground bunker, and you can also meet the Super Mutant Ranger. Speaking of Super Mutants, you may cross paths with traveling one called Uncle Leo and have an interesting conversation. There are two new vaults, 74 and 24, a new settlement called Underpass, or a bunker plagued by Red Roach infestation. A bunch of weapons were also added, like Vertibird Blade, made out of, vertibird blades. And there are lots and lots of other things for you to discover. It was a lot of fun to explore all new locations and NPCs, and I think it is best to just start a new playthrough to experience everything naturally. So overall, probably the best cut content type of mod I ever saw, and I would definitely recommend it. Coming up at second place, we have 6 mods made by Xylandro. For those of you that don't know, Xylandro is a modder behind Project B42 that is aiming to add some crazy features never seen before in New Vegas, and he has been slowly releasing some of its parts to public. This year he has released 6 of them, and so I decided to just include them all in one place and talk briefly about each one. Let's start with Wristwatch, inspired by one of my favorite series, Metro 2033. You can pick one up at Doug Mitchell's house and equip it like any other armor. On it you can then check out time, it has a radiation meter to let you know that you are growing a forward leg, health bar, and a stealth indicator, so you know when you failed at stealth. This watch is perfect for people that don't like HUDs and prefer to be immersed in game world. Plus, it comes with cool animation. Next is Melee Bash. You can probably guess what this one is about. You can bash people with your gun now. Damage is based on your melee skill and weapon type, costs AP, comes with custom animations, and has other uses outside of bashing skulls. You can for example destroy locks. Next we have B42 Descriptions. Every vanilla item you can pick up now has a description. You can either check them out in inventory by clicking on the information button, or in real time by looking at something for a few seconds. Then in your left corner a description will appear. Also, not gonna lie, some of these gave me a good laugh. And final 3 are mods I already talked about, so I will be extra brief. You can check out my top 10 video from June if you want to know more. First we have Grenade Hotkey that adds a hotkey for throwing grenades. You can circle through different types and even change categories between grenades, knives or mines. You can also change power of your throw or cancel it. Next is Retrievable Throwables. Now whenever you throw something like a spear or knife, you can then go and pick it up, either from a wall or dead body. It is a lot of fun to play around with it. For example, you can create ladders and get to otherwise unreachable places. And last one is player head tracking. Now your character rotates his head towards nearest NPCs. If you use stuff like ragdolls or one-man army, make sure you install patches in download section. And that is all. Like I said, all these mods are cool and I enjoyed playing with them. So good job Xylandro, good luck with B42, and hopefully we will see its full release soon. And finally, first place goes to Functional Postgame Ending by Kazopert. In vanilla game, you can't continue playing after Hoover Dam, and while there are mods like Cage that allow you to return to Mojave, they always place you into a world where no battle occurred, and so Kazopert decided to take it further and make an actual post-ending game, where your choices matter and world changes. It all depends on who you side with at the end of the game. First time I took a look at this mod, I went with NCR, and there were NCR flags and troopers everywhere, and citizens no longer talked about how they were going to kick Legion's ass, because, you know, they already kicked it. This time I went with Yes Man, and it was a lot different. There were riots in Freeside, and my security runs were killing anyone who opposed me. I could also find security runs all around Mojave thanks to the army I activated. Outside of faction choices, smaller decisions matter as well, and basically anything you see happen in ending slides is represented in game. For example, if Novak was attacked during battle for Hoover Dam, there will be graves at gas station, and bright followers will return to town. If you let the Brotherhood live, they will have patrols and stations at certain places. Mormon Fort can either be abandoned or full of patients, depending on faction you sided with. These are just few examples that I saw, and if you want to read about everything that was changed, you can download the document on mod page. And let me tell you, that list is pretty long. My main reason for putting this mod at first place was that it is a mod that brought something unique to New Vegas. Yes, we had a few mods that let you continue after game ends, but none went as far as Kazopert with all these details and actual changes that made you feel like you were playing in a world after battle that was changed by your choices. That is why I think it deserves its first spot, and hopefully we will see more in-depth mods like this one in the future. And yeah guys, I guess that's about it. Now of course I didn't talk about all the mods that came out last year, and there are a few tweaks, fix mods that I didn't manage to include here because they are kinda hard to record and talk about, so I will be leaving some honorable mentions in the comments below. Anyway, when it comes to some of my next videos, I do plan on making a critique about Outer Worlds soon. That video is in work for quite some time. Once again, I kind of underestimated how much time I actually have for these videos. So hopefully I can release that by the end of February. And after that, I plan on making videos about Mordhau, The Division, Rainbow Six Siege, and I wanted to play Stalker Call of Chernobyl. Now I know I mentioned that I'm gonna be doing Underworld as well, but I decided to kinda not do it because I'm once again not that interested in Skyrim like I was when I was making that announcement. And when it comes to my next Fallout content, well, to be completely honest, my next Fallout New Vegas video is probably going to be on its 10-year anniversary, and it will have nothing to do with mods. But after that, I do have one extremely big video that I want to make, and that will most likely be one of my final Fallout New Vegas videos, and I'm kinda looking forward to how that one turns out. I wanted to start working on it in summer and hopefully finish it by the end of the year, so you can look forward to that. And once again, thank you for all the support you've been giving me through the years on my Fallout videos or on my non-Fallout ones as well. And yeah guys, I guess that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. Subscribe for more Fallout and other games content. And I will see you next time.